the women's fours. Australia, the defending champions from last year, with 2 of their crew in this year's quartet.
Yeah, and that's a good clean start by all the crews in that race. You know, what I'm really looking forward to here is seeing this Australian crew. Can they make their mark on this field, David? They were heat winners. They're very impressive there, beating the Americans. And I think they've got a really great start, already long in the water and already edging out in front.
Well, they've got some experience in the women's four. Both Kate Hornsey and Robin Selby-Smith were world champions in the Australian 8 last year, and they're a pretty comfortable crew in as much that they really do know each other very well.
Yeah, that's right. All these Australians are really, really used to rowing with each other, because these 4 women team up in the 8 as well. And interesting, the combination, because Kate Hornsey, the stroke of this 4, she's the Australian woman at the back of the boat. She also strokes the 8. And the other 3 women, they're taken out of the bows of the 8. And we expect them to be figuring in the finals later on Sunday. But they're going to be very pleased with their start so far. But look at China, David. I mean, that is very, very good for a crew that's raced hard all season. They didn't come across Australia in the heats. They won their own race against Belarus, but certainly rowing very long, a little bit more upright than the Australians.
And something to prove also, Martin, for the Chinese, because in their case, these 4 women haven't made it into the Chinese 8, and that's the case with a number of the athletes in this women's fours final, that they haven't managed to make their way into what would be the #1 boat.
Yeah, absolutely. And these Chinese squads are so competitive, because these women have been racing in the 8. The bow woman Yu Fei was racing in the 8 earlier this season, as the stroke woman Lu Zhuha also. So they've tried for a place in the 8, but you know, it's a long way to Beijing, and it's going to be very competitive, and what they do here will really count.
So into the second quarter of the race, and Australia now beginning to exert themselves and pulling out to the best part of a length over China. Then in lane 6 in the foreground here, you can see Germany, Marlene Sinnig, who was 6th in the 8, also with her colleague from in the bow, Nora Verhan, who was also in the 8 last year, and they're just about into bronze medal position, but a long way to go.
And we've got the Australian crew at quite a comfortable 35 strokes per minute. I mean, it would be very interesting to see what they do to 1,000 metres here, because with this time, I can remember this is a very old world record. I remember it being broken in Vienna by the great Canadian crew that formed part of that wonderful combination that doubled up and won 2 golds in the Barcelona Olympics. So it's a world record that stood for a long time.
Yeah, indeed it was, 1991, and in fact, if you can remember then, it really was tailwind conditions in Vienna on that day.
Absolutely. Turnarounds ahead the next day, so we didn't get records in the 8. But again, I think the Chinese, well, they're battling away. I'll tell you what I'm surprised about. We haven't seen much from this American crew. I know they're new, but really they're quite far back at this stage, and I would have expected them to be more competitive, certainly if they were comparable to the women's 8 speed.
Yeah, they're only 5th there, but with only Belarus behind them, and some quite big gaps beginning to open up.
Yeah, and what you just saw, there was, I don't know who caught that crab, but I guess somebody on stroke side, that's the side furthest away from us, just got their blade caught in. I don't think the water's that rough, but it does show when the boat's travelling fast that actually keeping clean is going to be at a premium, and they'll be glad, those Australians, they had a length lead at that point.
And the damage they've done is due to 1:35.67 for their second quarter, Australia, and that's why they've now got clear water. And this field is looking a little like Indian file at the moment.
Yeah, I think in these what are non-Olympic events, I mean, the standard of racing is going to be not as close as the Olympic events. Although I generally tend to think, as a rule, that sometimes in 1 or 2 of the women's events, the gap between gold, silver and bronze is perhaps a little bit more than the men's events.
Well, this is looking like a fight for silver and bronze. On the near side, Germany, just 2 from the bottom of your picture there. That's Belarus. And in that crew, the very useful Natalia Helak in the 2 seat, who's actually an Olympic bronze medalist from the pairs in Athens, behind Great Britain's 2 Caths in that particular race. So she brings a lot to that crew. Yeah,
I remember watching her race, and you know, in one sense, I guess that she's got a lot to prove being in this event. She was second in the heat to China, and really I don't think anything less than a medal is going to satisfy her. But well, looking at the Australians, it's really going to be Well, in fact, the Chinese have closed up a bit, haven't they, David?
Yes, they have. They've actually held and just clawed back a little bit there, although the gap, as you can see, is over 2 seconds, but it was 2.5 seconds, so all credit to the Chinese for toughing it out. As you see, Kate Hornsey there in the stroke seat, behind her Amber Bradley, Kate from Tasmania, Amber Bradley and Joe Lutz in the 3 and 2 seats from Western Australia, and Robin Selby-Smith in the bow there from Victoria.
Yeah, and what you can see there, they're just starting to wind the rate up. It's going through 36, and I guess they're now around about 37. And they will have seen the charge from the crews behind them. America coming up out of the pack, which is a great row for them in the second 1,000 metres. But as we close into the last 250 metres, well, I think America are out to try and catch the Chinese, maybe force their contention into that silver medal slot.
Belarus also doing their best work towards the end of the race. In the foreground, Belarus in lane 5, United States in lane 2, but it's all Australia, and they really are enjoying themselves out there. Lovely rhythm there, and they have opened up again, as you suggested, Martin, in this final quarter here to really stamp their authority on this race. America are indeed getting themselves into a medal position. Still China in silver, America in bronze, and it's all just a little bit too late for the Americans. It's going to be Australia. China, terrific effort from the Chinese in the last 150 metres, but Australia take gold by half a length over China, and America get the bronze medal. Belarus coming through in 4th place ahead of the Netherlands, and then Germany, who faded rather badly. Martin, 6:25.35. The old record was 6:25.47, and so the world best time for the Fab Four from Australia, who can now look forward to another medal attempt tomorrow in the 8.